All right, so let's just start off with telling me who you are, what you're part of, what you're doing.
I'm Gunnar. I own GK Vapors, me and my wife, and we're just trying to bring a nice, affordable juice to everybody.
And how long has GK been around?
Formally, just over a year. I've been mixing DIY and for myself and friends for about 2 now.
Okay, and based in Phoenix?
Yes, we live in Surprise, and we are bottled and packed up in North Phoenix right now.
Awesome. Are you anywhere else in the country or mainly in the Valley area?
Mostly in the Valley. We do have a couple of shops out of state, one in Virginia and Indiana.
All right, growing up the clientele?
Trying.
So what else is GK involved with and got going on?
We try to focus heavily on advocacy work. We're members of SFATA,
What's SFATA?
SFATA is the Smoke-Free Alternative Trade Association.
So mainly just advocacy for anything
Yes.
to get off the tobacco?
Absolutely. It's not just vape. Obviously, for us, that's what we focus on. But anything other than tobacco.
Gotcha. And what else you got going on? Other organizations?
We're members of NAVB, the National Association for Vaping Businesses. Very similar to SFATA, but where SFATA focuses on the consumer, NAVB's interest is protecting the vape businesses.
And keeping the products out there
Absolutely.
for everybody to get.
Keeping what we have on the shelves out there and keeping the lines open so that we can continue to innovate and get better.
Gotcha. So what are some things that different organizations have accomplished since you've been involved and other things that you're working on to accomplish?
Well, here specifically in Arizona, we're pretty well off given our political climate, but we have managed to stave off actually all of the taxes that a lot of other states are getting hit with. You take a look at like Cook County in Chicago right now, they're getting obliterated.
Anything with flavor they want to trouble with.
Everything.
Yeah.
There was actually one just today, we posted it. Rhode Island sent through a bill that literally is lumping vaping in with tobacco, and it has to have all the same warnings, big red letters. And it's unfortunate because there's no tobacco in it.
Right. Something I've actually kind of been looking at lately is England's approach to vaping and
Yes.
how they've really taken it up as something to push as a safer alternative.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, for England right now, they're actually getting back into the same quandary that we're in. Public Health England made that big push, and they're using it as a smoking cessation device and pushing for it to be prescribed as a smoking cessation device. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but one of their other branches is now pushing back, and they're actually on the precipice of going through what we're going through right now all over again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy to know.
Yeah,
So
I feel bad for them.
Yeah, they need organizations like
They
what you're
do.
involved in.
Absolutely. They do. And I don't know that they have anybody. Obviously, I don't live there.
Right.
So I don't know. I have my contacts that I talk to regularly, and I get to hear what they're going through, but in terms of what they're doing about it on a local grassroots level, I don't know.
Gotcha. So by getting involved or getting involved with GK Vapor Juice, every little dollar helps kind of get out there in the community and keep it rolling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the juice. What have you started with and what have you become?
Well, we started with, I started vaping to quit smoking because I never actually really wanted to quit smoking. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. Nicotine was my last vice. I don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to. I have 4 kids, my wife and I, so I knew I needed to quit smoking for my kids, for my family. So I looked into vaping as an alternative, and after about 6 months of back and forth, it finally took. But then I quickly discovered that once I started dripping and whatnot, I couldn't afford to buy the juices that I like to vape all the time.
Right.
So, when I was buying, 4 30 mils a week at $20 a pop, it was actually a lot more expensive than smoking. So my wife and I started looking into, okay, well, what's in it? Can I make it? Can I just buy everything that I need? And I stumbled into the DIY world doing that and just started DIYing for a little while, experimenting, playing around. I ended up with 3 flavors that I really liked that I started making consistently for myself.
And what were those?
Topless Beach, Zombie Killer, and Glam Rock.
So what are the profiles for each of those?
Topless Beach is a sour pineapple mango.
Okay.
It was modeled after, I don't know if you've ever been to Rita's. They have it's a shaved ice, Italian ice company.
Okay.
They have a mango and they have a pineapple, and it's frozen, so it has a little bit of a bite. That's where we put the sour in.
Okay.
Those were my two favorite flavors, and I used to mix them together. That's what that was modeled after. It's my favorite summertime dessert and whatnot. So that's what I was trying to copy.
Well, that's cool.
Zombie Killer is a strawberry peach pomegranate, which is just fabulous. #1 seller across the board.
Yeah.
And then Glam Rock is a happy accident. When I was DIYing, I was actually out of sour and out of pomegranate to make the other two. So I just made something with what I had and came out with Glam Rock.
And it came out awesome.
Yeah.
Good. And which out of those three is probably the top? Zombie Killer?
Zombie Killer, yeah.
And so what else have you expanded into?
We have our cereal flavor, a little bit of different spin on it though, because it has a little bit of, it's not real dairy, but marshmallow in it. Very delicious. Got a little bit of apple in there too.
Okay.
So it's not just your typical, lemon cereal.
A lot creamier.
Yes.
Sure.
And our As You Wish is peanut butter s'mores, which is the most ridiculously rich peanut butter dessert you've ever had. It's fabulous.
And what else do we have over here?
We actually in October released an entirely separate line that are all mixed drink inspired. Thought it was fun. It's called Public House. A little play on the pub.
Yeah.
We have the Governor is a hazelnut berries and cream, kind of copied after the nuts and berries mixed drink if you ever had one.
Okay.
We have Blotto, which is a apple teeny. Muddled is a melon mojito, and Three Sheets is strawberry pina colada.
So we got the whole weekend lineup.
Absolutely.
That sounds pretty good. And is there anything else that you're working on now to come out with, or?
Lots of stuff.
And when can we expect some of these things?
Probably in the next 6 months or so, we'll have something else coming out. We've got one already locked in. We're just doing a little bit of final dev on it before we're ready to release it.
Do you release new lines or new juice individually released on a periodic scale, or do you just kind of when it comes to you, it goes?
Yep, when it's ready. I don't trying to make something fit within a timetable. I feel like you never actually get it right.
Yeah.
When it's right, it'll come out.
Okay.
Until then, it's not right, so we're not going to release it.
So rest assured, everything that is out now was perfected before it was put out.
Long before. Some of these flavors, Blotto in particular, was, I like to joke that it almost ruined my marriage. Because my wife and I would work on it together, and there were many, many late nights where plastic bottles started flying across the house. Because we'd mix it, it'd be wrong, and I would just get angry and start throwing stuff.
So the blood, sweat, and tears is what
Yes.
we vaped today. Gotcha. So this is actually pretty cool. The one thing I know, we're at Ninth World Vapor right now in Avondale, and the one thing that I noticed above all else was this wall of empty cigarette cartons.
Absolutely.
Or what I'm presuming are empty, of quit smoking, start vaping. How many shops are you involved with? And I realized that this is pretty much your home away from home.
This is my home away from home. We have 8 shops locally here in the valley, and pretty much all of them are involved in some way, shape, or form with the advocacy as well. That's important to us.
Yeah.
So, GK wasn't started to just make money. That's a nice, happy byproduct. So everybody that we do business with, we want to make sure that, they have our goals aligned.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can tell. It's a really good environment. And everybody that I've seen that you're involved with, I've either been to or heard good things about. So it seems like everything's lining up pretty well for GK.
Trying.
Yeah.
Trying.
Cool. So what's some of your favorite things right now about being involved with the vape industry aside from advocacy? What do you like seeing happening around you?
All the innovation.
Yeah.
People coming out with new flavors, pushing the boundaries of what's going to taste good. Some of the most ridiculous flavor combinations that you would never think, like, yeah, this is going to be awesome, and it is.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love creativity. I am a geek by nature. I like to build, I like to fix, I like to tinker. And so I love how much work everybody puts into this.
That's something I didn't even think to ask you about. After looking at your website and hearing about GK, the big theme of it is bring your geek out, get involved with your geek. Where did that come from, and who are you seeing coming out saying, I'm a geek, I want to try your stuff?
Everybody's a geek. And everybody's wearing it proud now, because everybody geeks out on something.
Oh yeah.
Everybody. whether it's cars, computers, video games, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're passionate about, you can geek out on it. So everybody is. And fortunately, with our the way the country's going and everybody owning what they're into,
Right.
everybody's getting into it.
Yeah.
And they're wearing it with pride because the stigma's gone.
Yeah.
Being a geek is not a bad thing.
Something to get involved with.
Absolutely.
So what does GK actually stand for?
Gunnar and Katie.
Okay.
Me and my wife.
Gotcha.
And it was just a happy coincidence that it lined up to kind of be an abbreviated geek.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So what are some of the things that you're, aside from obviously political raining down on vaping and everything, what are some of the things that you are hoping change with vape, with the vaping industry?
There does need to be some regulation. We need to be able to watch what goes into the products, just to make sure that, you know, John Doe walks into a shop, buys a bottle of juice, it's safe, it's clean. Right now we have no regulation. There's a bit of self-regulation.
How many labs can you think of in the Phoenix area? You don't have to give specific names, but how many do you think are really good about keeping track of everything, basically self-regulating in a way that you think would be professionally regulated by?
We have 3 or 4 here in the valley already.
Do you think that's enough?
We could always use more. Not gonna lie. I mean, more people doing it right is just good for the industry.
Okay.
So I'm totally okay with us getting more.
Yeah.
Right now, I think that the ones that we do have the capacity to handle all of our local guys, and we'll be fine. Everybody would have the ability to do it.
And are you self-lab made? Do you have your own lab?
No, we're at a Sonoran Labs.
Okay. And what are some of the things you like most about them?
For me personally, convenience. You know, they're right off the 101. They're close to, you know, a couple of our shops. It's nice and easy for me.
Okay.
And they've honestly just been a joy to work with. They specialize in kind of helping people get off the ground, like us. Honestly, I went in there to buy supplies from Steve. You know, I was just getting started with my business license and all this stuff, and you know, people at work wanted to buy my juice, so I was trying to make sure I did everything nice and good. So I went to him to just buy supplies, and I walked out of there with a co-packing deal. Literally, I went in to buy nicotine and VG so that I could, you know, continue mixing, and for myself and for my friends. And I walked out of there with a co-packing deal instead, so that I didn't have to do it. It's done in a clean room right there on site. I got to tour it, and it was great, nice and easy. I ended up with quite frankly, a better product.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do it anymore. Nice.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And a really big deal when you are, again, dealing with kind of an unregulated, uncharted market. If somebody just wants to get involved, at least in most cases, it's going to end up in the hands of somebody that is going to make sure the product doesn't come out too crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And consistency. They could mix in much bigger batches than I was.
Yeah. All right, so nothing to worry about with your juice.
No.
It tastes great, and it's definitely all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice and clean.
Awesome. So what are some things that are kind of concerning you about the local market? Obviously, we have decent labs. We're getting taken care of pretty well. Not a whole lot to worry about. Is there anything that you would change moving forward locally?
I'd like to see a better sense of community.
Yeah.
We seem to have little factions that don't get along.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is unfortunate because, I mean, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And, you know, rising tides are good for all ships.
Yeah.
So there's no need for the bickering, and just because I'm not a huge fan of something doesn't mean that it's bad. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, I personally am not a huge fan for my vaping for, you know, mix on demand. It's just not my thing.
That was actually what I was going to be asking you about, is the house juice. That's what comes to mind when you say the different factions.
Yeah.
Kind of the professional versus, not to say unprofessional, but the house-made juices.
Well, and I think it can totally be professional, and that's something that, you know, in terms of regulations, if that's going to stick around, I do think that we need to self-impose something along the lines of like a food handler's license.
Okay.
A food handler's card that everybody that works in a restaurant has to have one, and somebody that maybe can come in and inspect it. You know, at the end of the day, places that provide food for you have to be inspected to make sure it's clean, they're operating correctly. Well, we're inhaling this stuff too, so if there was some sort of you know, regulatory authority that could come in and say, yeah, they're mixing on demand, but here's the room they mix in, it's clean, it's okay, great, grand, wonderful. lovely. You know, I personally like my juice to, you know, sit and steep for a little while before I give it a go. So it's not my cup of tea, but it is for some people, and that's awesome. As long as you're not smoking, we're good.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. What do you, and especially because there are some places that I really like to do house juices that also offer, you know, original lines that are pre-bottled and ready to go. And, you know, just because I prefer one way or the other, I don't really want to, you know, take a side on them, which kind of goes along with what you're saying about
And there really shouldn't be a side.
Exactly.
It's all vaping.
What do you think it would take in order to get that kind of food handler situation without it having already gone too far, without it saying, you know, some agency or somebody saying, you guys are really out of line, we're going to have to bring you back, rather than just, yeah, it's a great idea, let's take you up on it?
A lot of lobbying.
Yeah.
A lot of lobbying, and I think we could go a long way in setting it up ourselves. We have, or in California, they have AIMSA who set up. They're an independent company. They're not actually backed by any government official, but they made a set of standards for what qualifies as AIMSA approved juice or an AIMSA approved lab and whatnot. And I think that could go a long way to when they finally do decide to act on us. Hey, these are the guidelines we're already operating under. They're sanitary, they're safe, and that could very well help them to adopt our self-regulation into formal regulation.
So who's going to start that regulation? Who's going to do that? Is it
I
going
don't
to be
know.
GK?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Somebody needs to do it.
Yeah.
So would be anything big coming up for GK, like you're saying, maybe dropping a new line, or I know, do you guys have release parties or anything like that?
We do. We don't have any release parties planned right now. Right now it's just one flavor that's actually a modification of one of the existing flavors. Tastes quite a bit different, but it's just kind of a spin-off, if you will.
No reveal on which one it is?
No.
Keep them guessing.
Yep. I don't know that we'll actually do a release party for it or anything like that, but we've got Vaping in the Sun coming up.
You're going to be there?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's going to be a good time.
Do you have a booth, or are you just going to be out there
have a booth.
wilding out with everybody? Okay.
Have a booth. And you know, Vapor Dynasty was a lot of fun, so as soon as Vaping in the Sun was open, we jumped on it. And it should be a good time. And I mean, talk about a good cause. All the proceeds going to VapeEvet is huge. So that's going to be a good time.
20th and 21st of February coming up soon.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So is there anything that you just want to let people know about GK, you feel like people don't know and would benefit from knowing? Any messages to send out to the people?
Don't smoke.
That's a big one.
That's it. I don't. If you buy my juice, awesome. That's great. If you don't, we're still friends. Just don't smoke. That's all I care about.
Good.
Really, you know, you could hate my juice. Tell me my juice sucks. You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I have no feelings left to hurt.
But it's worth a shot, because
Absolutely.
it might be the one thing that you just absolutely love.
Absolutely. It's worth giving us a shot anyway. The 30 ml bottle is 50 cents a mil, and that's the most expensive it is.
Okay.
They just go down from there as you get bigger bottles. So we're not priced at $22 for a 30 mil.
No.
It's not going to cost you that much to give us a shot.
Interesting. All right. So there you have it. We're going to be trying some GK pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for talking to us.
Absolutely. My pleasure.